Yep. Nope, that's all. We can officially start the meeting.
Okay. There you go. Hey, the bell rung. So everybody run for lunch. So, okay. So like I was saying, Maurice was gracious enough to give us a time during the month to bring Geoff on. Last month, the district was really gearing up to do all of this foundation work and grant management and all that. Geoff came and presented to us as a district, and he says, "Hey man, call me anytime." So of course we call up Geoff and say, "Hey man, how's about coming to our meeting?" And he was nice enough, even though he's I think you're like 4 hours ahead of us, to come in and do a presentation at our meeting. Also invited Mark Harbison from Maui, who's going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we're doing at the district level, and of course Naomi today, and she will talk about everything at District 5000. And as Geoff said, Naomi, because yeah, once Naomi's on your trail, it's too late. Hi, Charlene. There's Charlene. Okay. So
I'd also like to welcome our guest, Kimo, also known as Jim Becker from the Hilo Club. Thank you for joining us, Kimo.
Thank you, Maurice. I'm having some connectivity problems, but I'm here in my car. But an old friend of Geoff we met in Marin County, I think last year, Geoff, you were there kind of making the rounds. Do you remember?
Vaguely. It's all a blur before quarantine.
Yeah, well, if Geoff had a nickel for every chemo he's met, I mean, he'd be a rich guy. So yeah, you as soon as his video comes on, you'll go, "Hey, I remember you." Yeah, so, yeah. Cool. So Geoff, we got a lot of people that can participate today, but you're the main guy, and if you want to get rolling, we'll start going through your material, and I'm sure we're gonna have questions afterwards. Oh, there's Rosemary coming in too, so we're gonna have a good group today. Okay.
Fantastic. Am I running the show now?
Yeah, you're running the show, and you're set up to share screen and everything.
All right, fantastic. Well, first, let me say thanks, Benson, for working out the logistics and having me here. And thank you, Maurice, for the hospitality and allowing me to come and talk to the club a little bit. It's really good to see some familiar faces. Mark, good to see you again. Naomi, a pleasure as always. I know I'm in good company when you guys are around. So I'm really grateful to be here for a lot of reasons. It is a little bit ahead of you guys, but still well within working hours. I just had to move my run around to lunchtime, which is no big deal at all. Nothing like a lunchtime run to wake you up in the afternoon, I suppose. But another reason why I'm happy to be here is because, as I mentioned before the meeting started, I got a few kids running around this place, and during quarantine here, any opportunity to talk to some adults and not discuss Pokemon or Star Wars, I'm really happy to participate in that conversation. So thanks so much, guys, for having me. I'm going to see how this screen share works. I think we got it. All right. Let me know if we have any tech issues. If you guys can't see anything or hear me for any reason, poke me or wave or whatever you got to do. We'll work it out.
I just want to say, Benson, if you could pin Geoff's video while he's talking, then the video will only show him. So for the playback, you know what I mean?
Good point, Maurice. Thank you.
Once you figure it out. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll go ahead and jump right in. Let me know if there's anything that comes up along the way. But one of the biggest reasons why we're meeting here tonight, or this afternoon, as the case may be, instead of in person, is due in large part to Rotary's dedication to Rotarians being people of action. And that fits perfectly with RI President Holger Knox's theme for the year, Rotary Opens Opportunities. And it's never been more clear than in our presently quarantined world. I've had the pleasure of meeting some incredibly and amazing people since I've been with Rotary, your company included in that, of course. This morning, we're covering a couple of topics in our short time together. But first, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the state of the Rotary Foundation with a particular focus on the annual fund. And second, we'll review some tangible ideas to develop a strategy to promote and support the annual fund within your district. before I get into that, this is just a fun little slide that I threw together of some of the people that I've gotten to meet since I've been with Rotary. Since quarantine started, I've been able to pop in and out of different club meetings, one of those being Casper, Wyoming, where it's easily the biggest club in all of Wyoming. That being the case, they carry a lot of weight with them, and they have the ability and the opportunity to bring in their U.S. Senator John Barrasso, who is also a Rotarian, but he pops in once a week to their club meeting every week and gives a quick 5 or 10 minute spiel about what they have going on in Washington, D.C. So that's a pretty amazing thing to have your Rotary Club bring in your U.S. Senator. Not many people have that privilege. I had the chance to take a little personal vacation with my dad and brother last year when we could still travel. Seems like a dream when that used to be the case. But we took a trip to Edinburgh, Scotland. While I was there, I popped in on the Edinburgh Rotary Club, got to meet the now immediate past club president, Katie Ridland. But while I was there, the speaker just so happened to be Ellen Wong, the principal officer from the U.S. consulate. And she's a career diplomat, just an amazing person. She's worked all over the world, has some really cool stories. And she shared a few of those with us in the 20 or 30 minutes she had in that club meeting. And just a happy coincidence that this American who happened to be in the UK at the time got to hear the consulate general speak at that club meeting. So just a really fun thing that happened. Down in the bottom left, that's me meeting Paul Harris at the very first Rotary Club meeting ever in 1917. Just kidding, guys. That didn't really happen. I'm not quite that old. But that's the statue of Paul Harris we have on the very first floor of World Headquarters. If you ever get a chance to come and visit, take a tour of the building, you'll get to meet Paul Harris yourself. And then on the bottom right, the little Hollywood squares or Brady Bunch square, that's me in the top center. But that's our whole annual giving team. All of us representing North, Central, and South America, and a little bit of our management team as well. I'll tell you a little bit more about us specifically, but that's the cast of characters as we sit when we're in the building down one row on the 17th floor. All right, enough with the fun stuff. Let's get down to business. Before we get into everything that we need to talk about, I realize that to a lot of you, I'm a brand new face. My name is Geoff Cochran, and I'm the annual giving officer for zones 26 and 27, and by extension, your district and your club. I've been with Rotary International for over 2 years, starting with Rotary's club and district support team. Just over a year ago, I joined the annual giving team supporting your zones. I have nearly 2 decades of experience working in the nonprofit sector with various organizations, boards, and committees. As you can probably tell from my title, my focus as annual giving officer is the annual fund. And as much I am a resource to you as Rotarians and volunteer fundraisers, I can help train, apply giving trends, and analyze data to help empower you as Rotary leaders to support the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation has 7 total annual giving officers, as you saw a couple slides ago, 6 of us in Evanston representing North and South America, and 1 officer in Delhi working with Indian districts. There are, of course, other fundraising professionals in all of Rotary's international offices across the world filling similar roles as annual giving officers. Each of us has one overall goal, and that is to help you realize the mission of Rotary International in your communities. If we drill down the Rotary Foundation's mission just a little bit further, another of my favorite aspects is our 7 areas of focus. Regardless of one's preferred cause, RI speaks to everyone's passion. Given the surreal circumstances we find ourselves, I absolutely love that disease prevention and treatment is one of our primary causes. If you haven't heard by now, the networks that Rotary has in place to combat polio are already making an impact in the fight against novel coronavirus, and I'll speak a little bit more to that in a moment. But obviously, this area of focus is paramount given where we are currently and can only serve you and your club well in your efforts to make an indelible mark in people's lives. Additionally, I'm incredibly excited to add to this the new 7th area of focus, which was recently approved by the Board of Directors and Trustees just a few months ago and introduced after the virtual international convention. Supporting the environment is now gathering funding for grant activity, and these funds will be made available next Rotary year. So hopefully sometime around July 1st, 2021, we'll be able to start grant activity for projects supporting the environment. But as you all know, polio eradication remains Rotary's #1 priority. You may also know that in 1979, Rotary began its fight against polio with a multi-year project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. Some years later, Rotary International launched Polio Plus, the first and largest internationally coordinated private sector support of a public health initiative with an initial fundraising target of $120 million. At this point, I want to take a moment and circle back to disease prevention and treatment, and more specifically, Rotary's approach to COVID-19 and the Disaster Response Fund. Countries with logistics in place to address polio are well positioned to combat coronavirus in several respects. Not mentioned here are the hundreds of clubs who are making a daily impact with the help of district and disaster response grants to alleviate the hardships caused by the illness. In response to this new challenge, the foundation trustees have made available a total of $3 million in grants for districts and clubs to apply. These 120 grants of $25,000 each were met with an unprecedented response. What's even more impressive is the outpouring of support from individual Rotarians who have given millions of dollars to the Disaster Response Fund. If you would like to follow your fellow Rotarians and make your impact felt, you can log into My Rotary and visit the Disaster Response Fund page. Regardless of a Rotarian's passion, it's clear that the foundation's impact is felt far and wide. That's due in large part to the tireless work that you do in the world. Our trustees set some audacious goals this Rotary year to support this work even further, with a substantial goal of $410 million across all funds. TRF is nicely positioned to achieve its most ambitious year on record. Things have clearly changed in the past few months, and we can't be sure what the rest of the year will look like given the interruptions COVID-19 will undoubtedly present, but our leadership asked, and to date, Rotarians have delivered. If we dive a little bit deeper into the actual numbers, we'll see that there are some notable changes over last year to date. As we are through the first quarter of the year, our current year's fundraising effort is coming into focus. The annual fund is currently down slightly by 7.6%. Polio Plus is also down 56.4%. Additionally, the endowment fund sitting at $13.2 million. We are trending toward the unprecedented goal of 2.025 by 2025. That's 2.025 billion in our endowment by 2025. It's cause for pause and celebration, and is a major testament to the dedication of all of you and your clubs. Now, I just want to take a quick moment as an aside here and add to this. I know these numbers can look a little startling on paper, but I want to break them down a little bit for you. First of all, we're kind of on par actually with the annual fund about where we want to be. Early in the year, it's not unusual for the annual fund to be slightly down, but by 7%, given everything else going on in the world, it's really not that unusual to be there at this point in the year. Polio Plus is a little bit more abrasive, that number of 56.4%. But keep in mind that this doesn't include the numbers. If you'll see at the bottom, that asterisk, these numbers are final through the end of September. So this doesn't include numbers from World Polio Day, which just happened a couple of weeks ago. And of course, this being Foundation Month, that always gives a little bit of a boost to the foundation numbers by the end of November. So we'll see these numbers pull up a little bit, although we do fully expect some of these, if not all of them across the board, to be down this year, given the interruptions that COVID-19 presents. I'll also say that the endowment, being a person who's worked in nonprofits for over 2 decades, the simple fact that this nonprofit has a goal of a $2 billion endowment is pretty mind-boggling and astonishing. But even more impressive than that, the simple fact that we're actually on target to meet that $2.025 billion goal is amazing. It's a testament to all of you as Rotarians for all of your hard work. And it speaks to the security that the foundation will have going forward, that regardless of economic circumstances, we'll still be in a nice position to grant out some pretty consistent money over the next many, many years to allow all of you to do the incredible work that you do in the world, supporting everyone around you in your communities and globally. So I just wanted to add that quick note. I don't want to freak anybody out with these numbers. It can look a little abrasive, but that's kind of where we're at least specifically when dollars are counted. So moving on. There you have a quick overview of where we currently stand in terms of our goals for the year. With that in mind, it's important to understand why people continue to give to the foundation in such significant ways. The impact of your gifts is clear, but there's one aspect that is sometimes easy to overlook. Everyone on our polio and philanthropy team are conscientious about your funds, and we make an exerted effort every single day to act as good stewards for your investment. It's reflected in the highest rating the Charity Navigator issues to nonprofit organizations. If you aren't familiar with Charity Navigator, it's a nonprofit organization that rates the efficacy and transparency of other nonprofits. TRF has been rated with their highest 4-star rating for the past 11 years and routinely scores well in different performance metrics for rating a charity's financial health. While the Charity Navigator rating is only a snapshot of Rotary's efforts and fiscal responsibility, we've proven over the years to be among the most competitive of our peers in this area. Only 1% of charities evaluated have received at least 10 consecutive 4-star evaluations, with an unprecedented 90% of donations going towards programming. It's no wonder the Charity Navigator, but even more importantly, Rotarians like yourselves hold TRF in such high regard. So there you have a quick overview of where we currently stand in terms of our goals for the year. During our remaining time here, I also want to give you a high-level view of our most significant giving vehicles and recognitions. At this point, it can't be understated how much impact Rotary Direct is going to have in the coming year. With so much disruption in our normal processes and the potentiality that traditional payment methods may become temporarily unavailable, for example, processing checks, Rotary Direct expedites your gift and ensures that it reaches your designated fund. Compared to last year to date, there are nearly 1,000 more Rotarians who have signed up for Rotary Direct, yielding a full 2% increase in donations. Rotary Direct is an invaluable tool and helps our giving goals and will pace the success in meeting this goal for this coming year. There's several recognitions that apply to Rotarians to complement Rotary Direct and help your club members reach their giving goals. The first of these is Every Rotarian Every Year, or E-Ray, which encourages all Rotarians to actively support the Rotary Foundation by giving $100 a year. E-Ray is easily achieved by giving as little as $10 a month through Rotary Direct. Two more complimentary recognitions include Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society. A Rotarian will increase their PHF level for each $1,000 given, which works out to about $84 a month through Rotary Direct to achieve both recognitions. Similarly, Paul Harris Society simply asks Rotarians to commit to giving $1,000 each year to the annual fund, Polio Plus, or an approved foundation grant. These are three of the easiest ways to build strong individual support for the Rotary Foundation in your club. You or your club is sitting on a large sum of Paul Harris points. Another way to incentivize giving is to leverage these points to motivate even greater levels of giving through 2-to-1 points matching for every dollar given in a month, as an example. Possibilities really are limitless in this respect, but foster a culture of giving in a club or a district that endures. With these being the three most accessible recognitions available to Rotarians, it's equally important to call attention to Rotarians who achieve these milestones. I encourage each of you to take time out of your club meetings to honor those who have achieved. Not only will the recipient feel the weight of their achievement, but it will inspire other Rotarians to give as well. Lastly, there are just a few additional resources available to you. My Rotary and Rotary.org have been covered enough this afternoon. In addition, my colleagues in the Rotary Support Center are still working diligently every single day to answer emails and provide some much needed clarification. As your annual giving officer, I'm always here to help with anything that you might need. And of course, you have each other. We're fortunate in Rotary to have an expansive, knowledgeable, compassionate community. It's even more important now than ever to rely on each other for support, both individually and for Rotary. Inasmuch you have great club leadership to help you navigate the intricacies of Rotary and to take action that speaks directly to your passions. Not to throw Maurice under the bus, but I happen to know personally the club presidents love to get calls at 2 a.m. to talk about ideas for club and service projects. I also invite you to get to know your district leaders when you have an opportunity. That's it for me in my presentation. I want to thank you again so much for giving me the opportunity to spend some time with you this afternoon. And I'm going to stick around, of course, for any questions and just to hang out the rest of your meeting. So thanks so much, everyone.
Okay. Hey, cool, Geoff. That's awesome. So If anybody has any questions for Geoff, you can unmute yourself and we can ask some questions. If not, I'm going to let Mark go ahead and roll his presentation on basically what we're doing at the district level, and then maybe we'll have some questions, or we can have a discussion about it when we're done. I'm sure Naomi has a few things to say, and I see Chemo Jim there, and he may even have some things to say. Okay, Mark, rock and roll, bro. You gotta unmute, and we can go. Yeah, there we go.
Rosemary, I wanted to say hi to Rosemary Linden. We've been on the phone several times in the last couple of days, sometimes successfully.
Yeah.
So this is not really a presentation. I'm just going to mention a few things that I think you guys will be interested in. I'm going to share my screen for a minute to show you kind of an overview of what we're up to. So here it comes. Here we go. This is all print. So the main thing I wanted to talk about today is the big district project that is being coordinated by District Governor Naomi and District Governor Rajiv Pokhral in Nepal. These are 3 district grants that are expected to culminate. District Governor-elect Sandy Matsui is now in on the act. So this is a 2-year project in Nepal with a direct involvement of District Governor Rajiv Pokhral. And one thing I'd like to say about this is that the culture of Zoom, the age of Zoom, has made possible a level of collaboration and communication that is just unprecedented. We have had, along with Jim Becker, myself, Naomi, other people who are involved in this project, James Ham from Honolulu Sunset, Arjun, who is also Nepalese, also from Honolulu Sunset, past president of the club. So we're meeting not only with the district governor, but also the local Rotarians who are sponsoring the project, the doctors from the National Hospital who are helping to support these new hospitals, the educators from the school where we're working on a basic education project. So let me run through the global grants quickly. The first one is a science lab and classroom improvements in a small rural school, but it's a district school in Damauli in Nepal. This is a $50,000 grant. A lot of clubs are involved in it from our district. One of the other great things about this project is that we're getting participation from district in Taiwan, from our sister district in Japan. This is District 2650, which is centered on Kyoto and Nara. They have become very loyal to us. And last year they gave us $70,000 in DDF. This year we're talking more along the lines of $100,000. So huge cooperation from our district sister club in Japan. So the one in Damauli is basic education. The one that you guys have shown a direct interest in is a medical equipment project and a telemedicine unit in Dading. Dading, the hospital there is a regional hospital. It's one of the few hospitals in the area that is capable of treating COVID-19. They are planning a major upgrade of their ICU unit, and we are providing the equipment. This grant is in the $70,000 range. Again, we're getting major support from Taiwan and from Japan, and also from like 11 clubs in District 5000. This is one of the grants that your club has taken an interest in, and so I'll go on from there. The third project is an old project that is basically a project run by District Governor Rajiv Pokhral. This is a very remote regional hospital in Nepal, way up in the mountains, very remote. This is a brand new hospital. A consulate from India actually built the building for this hospital, but it's an empty building at this point. It's set up to be a hospital. They have electricity, they have an internet connection. We are supplying all of the equipment for operating rooms, hospital beds, everything they need to get up and running. This is a $180,000 grant. Again, major support from Japan, but a lot of the money is coming directly from Nepal. A wealthy donor there has contributed $30,000. One of the clubs there that's very active in foundation is coming in with $90,000 of DDF. So we're looking for help with it. We're still looking for help with this one, Kumari Hospital grant. Our traditional grant that we've been working on, you know, the Rotarian action groups talk about working on programs rather than projects. Well, this project in Thailand is part of a program that's been going on for 10 years that our district has been part of. It's northern Thailand, rural hospitals. Up until now, it's been primarily dialysis machines, but this year, because of COVID-19, they're working on equipment for COVID-19 ventilators and also training for the doctors in how to use those hospitals. One of the coolest grants in our district was proposed by Dr. James Ham from the Honolulu Sun Club. This is a relatively small grant. It's $30,000, basically the minimum size for a global grant, but it's a medical VTT in Bhutan. And the idea is to train the truckers, the Sherpa that help the truckers in Nepal, to train them in basic first aid, in emergency evacuation, all of the sorts of things that get involved when the mountaineers get in trouble. This will be a major source of income for these people in Bhutan. And that is the main point of this grant, to be a vocational service project that will give them, and the area of focus for global grants is economic and community development. But it's also, you know, related to disease prevention and treatment. But this is a really unique project, and I'm really proud of James for bringing it to our district. This is a project that I'm involved in, and it's kind of a pet project for me. It's a trauma and mental health response to the tsunami and nuclear plant disasters in Tohoku, Japan. And this is being run by our sister district, District 2650. So it's a club, it's a district in Kyoto that is attempting to help a district in the far northeast of Japan that was hit directly by the tsunami and also by the Fukushima plant meltdown. There has been a long-standing post-traumatic stress syndrome affecting these people. Also, the loss of their homes, the loss of their livelihoods. So this is a project to directly address that with mental health and trauma response. And it's a vocational training team. So it's a team from the United States going there to help train Japanese psychiatric personnel in dealing with this kind of post-traumatic treatment. And the final grant I want to talk about is, this is another very large project, $200,000. It has the backing of our Rotary president elect, and it's in the slums of New Delhi. The idea, it's an economic and community development area of focus. The idea there is to go into the most notorious slum in New Delhi and to empower the residents to seek their rights to which they are entitled. The COVID-19 has had a major impact on livelihoods, on they're being evicted because they can't find work. They have enormous health problems. Accessing medical care is a major challenge because in a lot of cases, they don't have documentation. They are the lowest of the lowest castes in a lot of cases. So this is a big grant, a lot of support from Japan. And, I'm really proud of this grant. This is a major initiative in New Delhi with a long-standing partner there. The Rotary Club of Delhi South Metropolitan, we have been doing grants with them for the last 10 years. So those are the grants that we're involved in as a district. Thanks to our friends in Taiwan and Japan. We have new friends in Australia, thanks to Jim Becker. We're really expanding our grants program. We are already one of the major players in our zone. So, we're doing great, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys to work on these projects.
Okay, Mark. Hey, thanks, man.
I'm sorry if I took a little time there, but I kind of raced through it. But
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Let me stop your sharing here.
There we go.
Okay, gang. Hey, thanks a lot. So what Geoff presented and what Mark presented is basically a result of our dollars that we donate into the foundation. Now, over the years, South Hilo has been probably in the top 5 foundation donors in our entire district. Now, over the last few years, and the reason that we have been so high is that we've had several of our club members that have been like $1,000 donors. So when you got 5 or 6 of those guys, you're like $6 grand up before the word go. But over the course of the years, people have left. Some guys have passed away, as you know. We've lost some of those folks. And so now it's time basically to we got to kind of rebuild that up now. So it comes down to, everybody donating whatever they can into the foundation. So we're able to do the kind of work that Geoff has described and that, Mark has described too, because all of those projects are made possible because people like us put in, $100, $200, $300, whatever we can over the course of the year. And so one of the programs that's really essential for everybody in our district is that every Rotarian every year, that E-Ray program that Geoff talked about. And we've been really consistent. I know those of you guys have been in our club for a while. Remember the days when, David Hurd was foundation chair and he had it pre-filled out, that application out. He just handed them out to everybody. Everybody, wrote their check or took their credit card out. So because we can't meet, it's a little bit more difficult, but we can still do a lot of it online. And I asked Naomi basically to kind of take us through, if you want to donate money to the foundation online, it's pretty easy. So Naomi, you can share screen now if you want to take us through that. Oh, but you got to unmute
Okay,
first.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Let me get that screen up. I was just looking at my donations too. So, okay.
I know a lot of you guys already have My Rotary accounts, and you guys have been doing it for years. And you know that you basically go on Rotary.org and hit that donate button, and bingo, you're good. And being able to keep track of all of your donations over the years is really important. So go ahead, Naomi.
Okay. So first of all, you do need to have that login for Rotary.org. So you go to My Rotary. So when you're going to My Rotary, you're going to log in. And so here I've already logged in, and they moved that place where you can see where your donations are. So if you wanted to check where your donations are, you would go here to this arrow, and it says My Donations, and you click there, and that's where you can get your history on where you are on your giving this year. Okay, but if you want to donate, you can just hit that donate button right here, up here, and it will take you to the page where you can donate to the different funds that are available. But the best way to do it is by signing up for a Rotary Direct, because if every year you do give $100, just put it out of your mind and sign up for a recurring one-time gift every year, or you can do it every month at like $10 a month or $83 a month if you want to get to the society. But here is where you just hit the donate button, and I think Geoff showed us this picture, but these are the funds that you can get to. There's 7 funds actually that you can give to, but this is the annual fund share that you need to click if you want that money to come back to your club in 3 years. So that money that you give to the Rotary Foundation comes back for your projects. The district designated funds for local projects. These are projects that your club picks. So you guys are on the front line, you know what's going on in your community, and what better way is to get this money that comes back to you for your projects. So annual fund share, then the Polio Fund, of course, and we have this new thing called a Polio Plus Society, where if you pledge to give $100 a year until we eradicate polio, you can become part of this society. So brand new recognition. And right now, if you make a donation to the Polio Plus Fund and sign up for the society, you can double your points for Paul Harris. So your points for Polio Fund do go to Paul Harris as well. Okay, so remember the annual fund, remember Polio Plus. So there are 2 different pockets to put in funds in because they're different purposes. So Polio Fund goes to eradicating polio and the different things that we do for disease prevention there. And then the annual fund is the one that you get back for your grants. Okay, so you click the fund that you want to give, you put in your information, you can go one time or recurring, and you pick the amount. You don't have to pick these amount. You can do another amount, $35 a month or $35 a year. You pick the amount and pay by credit card, and it goes directly to the Rotary Foundation. You get a receipt from Rotary Foundation. It is tax deductible if you do deduct these donations. But here it's already populated. If you sign in, it's populated with your information, with your ID numbers, because your ID number is really important for them to credit you with the Paul Harris points. Okay, is that good, Benson?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was super good. I do want to let you guys know that for those people that have been Rotarians for a long time, when I was president a couple of years ago, I had I decided to print out a list of all of our Paul Harris people. Now, our Paul Harris are, as most of you know, that if you donate $1,000 and over, you become part of the Paul Harris Society. And I was amazed that about 65% of our club members were Paul Harris people. And the reason that they achieved that is that they put a small amount of money every month, and it just started accumulating. I remember Peter at our meeting, it was 2 years ago. I walked up to him and said, "Hey, Peter, this is the report," and he was just astonished at the amount of money that that he had donated over the years, because of just a small amount that just accumulates year after year after year. And he was telling me, "Man, I don't even think about it," but it was nice to see that figure, and it was a big figure. So I would encourage all of you to kind of get on that program. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, like $25 a month. I mean, if you have the ability to do, $85, that's $1,000 a year. So you're gonna crank it up pretty fast. I know that during this time, COVID time, I know it's, finances have been kind of difficult for some people. But on the flip side, there's a lot of people who have saved a lot of money because, they're not going out to eat anymore. They're not putting, 5 tanks of gas in their car every week. So they got a little bit more disposable funds. So, you know, if you're able to do that, that will be a great thing. And then I wanted to open up, Rosemary, if you wanted to say anything. Rosemary's been our international chair for for years and years. I know she's involved in it. Or anybody else want to ask Geoff some questions? He's around, or Naomi, or Mark's still on. Chemo's still on. I'm not sure if we can see him, but I'm sure knowing Chemo, we'll hear him if somebody asks a question. So go ahead, Rosemary. I'll turn the floor over to you. Oh, you got to unmute there. It's a little thing that says unmute. So down at the bottom of the screen, Rosemary, when you put your cursor down at the bottom, you'll see all these little tabs down there. And the one at the far left, where there's a microphone, if you hit that, it'll turn it off. Not
It's a
quite.
little easier. You can just hold the space bar too. If you hold the space bar while you talk, you'll be unmuted.
Oh, okay. Hold the space bar. How's that?
Well, that's a good feature.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Hey, way to go, Geoff. Thanks for telling us that. Hold the space bar down.
I'm not just a pretty face. I know stuff.
I know. That's great. Oh, yeah. We can't hear you. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I can't unmute you. I can only ask you to unmute. So anybody then have any questions? Peter, anybody, Chemo, you guys want to add anything? Peter, go ahead. You got to unmute yourself. There you go. We see you.
Ooh, hold on, I got my music on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good,
No,
Peter. We hear you.
I just wanted to point out that one of the reasons, going back a few years, that our club has so many members of the Paul Harris, and it's probably about the time that I got seriously interested in it, was Val Cook was the president back then. I forget how long it was, a while ago, 10 years or so ago. And Val Cook was the president, and one of his programs was to try and get everybody on the Paul Harris. And he took funds, and I think personal funds too. He would pay people's thing to catch them up to make the $1,000 or whatever. I think we got a whole bunch of the club members at that time. So I think I just wanted to shout out to Val for that. You know, that was a big reason, I think, why our club has such a high percentage.
Wow.
Over and out.
Thanks. Rosemary, I think you're unmuted. I think
Yes, I think I am. For
Yes,
some reason,
go for it.
I lost the visuals before, so I couldn't unmute myself. Now I unmuted, but I still lost the visuals, so I don't see any of you.
Yeah, but we can hear you and we can see you.
We can see you too.
Great. I don't see anything except the word Zoom.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm very excited that we are planning to be part of the Kumari project of hospital equipment and telemedicine, and we're being helped by the past president of Australia. And we have the opportunity to also be part of the Dading project, which hopefully our foundation board will be able to decide today if we would like to do that. There are, of course, many other wonderful projects, and I feel really happy and grateful that I get to be a part of this, because it's very exciting to be part of what Rotary does around the world. And I definitely thank all of you in my club and in Rotary International and District 5000. It's just a wonderful effort on everyone's part. So I think that most of you have seen the description of those projects, and we can talk about them later, but I'm very excited to be involved in them.
Okay, cool. Hey, so Naomi just told me, and Peter, this kind of goes to your point, is that in 2005 to 2006, our club was 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. And that's an amazing thing. And so you're right. And that was just when when Val Cook was president during that year. So we can do some amazing things if we kind of put it all together. Anybody got any more questions or comments? Anything you want to add? Kimo, you want to add something? I know you're kind of out there in the boonies somewhere, but
I'm not sure if I can be seen. Perhaps I can be heard. This could be a good thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah. We can hear you. We can hear you.
I just want to say to Rosemary, thanks so much. Working and talking with me and Mark, and I know Mark, outstanding presentation. I'll tell you, my 28 years Rotarian, when a district steps up and gives 6 or 8 really quality projects, it's just amazing. And then this great club here, South Hilo, being able to step up and contribute to a couple of them. And my friend Janice in Australia is more than happy to help out. So thanks for the opportunity, and you guys just keep doing the great things you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm one of your biggest fans.
Yeah. Thanks, Kimo. Appreciate that. I wanted to ask Geoff one more question while you're still with us. I mean, obviously you're out there working with thousands of clubs, on this very same thing as this kind of coordinating their giving. And I wanted to know if there were some unique characteristics or some kind of program that these clubs that are highly successful, that are high level givers, do they have some kind of, I don't know, secret sauce or something that they do that gets everybody really zeroed in foundation giving?
Such a great question, Benson. And I think that there's some pretty common factors amongst the most successful clubs. 2 of the most obvious, I'd say, are number 1, there's a culture of giving at the club. And that comes from each individual Rotarian understanding and knowing how important, number 1, their own individual giving is to support Rotary as a whole. But also 2, all of those individual efforts coming together to create such an amazing support for the foundation within the club itself. The second most obvious, I'd say, characteristic of a very successful club, especially when it comes to fundraising, is it's clubs that are really involved in grants, whether that be district or global grants.
Yeah.
But that really is the most significant way I think a club can see the impact of their dollars given. And it really shows. And that's really the lifeblood of Rotary itself is service. I heard a past Rotary International director say one time that you aren't actually a Rotarian until you've had your Rotary moment. And I really, truly believe that's true. And I think those Rotary moments happen by and large in service, whether that's the individual service projects in the community or in grant work. So grants and giving culture, I think, are the 2 biggest supports there.
Yeah. Great answer, Geoff. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks.
Anybody have anything you want to add to the subject matter? I want to actually turn the meeting back over to Maurice. So, we didn't really take any time to do announcements or any other stuff that you wanted to do. But there is 6 whole minutes left. So
if I could add just one more thing.
Yeah. Great, Geoff. Great.
Immediate. I'm sure some of you know within District 5000, Rotarian Ron Mabry. And just wanted to share my screen here real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Bragging rights. He says that he is the first Polio Plus Society member in District 5000. If you can see him here, he's holding up a Polio Society pen. Rotarians love their flair, right? So you get another fancy pen to put on your lapel. Yeah. But that's exactly what the Polio Plus Society pin looks like. And it's a pretty new initiative, as Naomi mentioned in her talk. And it's a great effort that's just really, it's taken over to zones 26 and 27, and it's really starting to spread across the country too. So it's a pretty fun thing. So
great. Thanks, Geoff. So Naomi, remind us one more time what we need to do to get that so that we can be with Ron Mayberry.
There's a pledge form to sign. Okay. So you're pledging to give $100 a year until we eradicate polio. So if you go to the polio page on the district website, the pledge form is there, but I can send it to you. Maybe Maurice can send it out to the club. So once you do that pledge, send it to Rich Corson. You get a pin, a certificate, and a bracelet.
Woohoo! All right. More Rotary booty, man. So that's awesome.
And as long as you're signing up for things, don't forget to sign up for the Paul Harris Society too. Don't forget about the annual fund.
Yeah, the annual fund. Okay, man. So,
Arlene,
wow,
you got a question?
a lot of good information. Go ahead.
I think for some of us that belong to many organizations, we're getting a little battle fatigue with fundraising. I'm just sharing that with you. So I'm just wondering, how do you get over that? Many people are very dedicated to Rotary only, and they focus in on that. For some who are involved with a lot of activity within the local community, so nonprofit work there, everybody's just hitting you up in your pocket. And that just happened recently and in another international organization that I belong to. And it gets fatiguing. I appreciate the good work that Rotary does. I'm just asking you, because you can see that we have 37 members in our club, but many people are distracted or they're working or something else that's going on in their life. So my question to you is, how do you compete? Because after a while, I almost want to shut down and not write any check or give my credit card, because I feel like, you know what, it's all important. Why not work together and get more done in a significant way, or like focus in on polio, or rather than just saying, oh, we're going to have $2.5 billion in a fund. How wonderful. Yeah, but same thing for a lot of these other international organizations. So how do you cut through that noise?
Such a great question, Charlene. Yeah, there are so many nonprofits, and you used a great word to describe what a lot of people are experiencing in so many different ways, not just in fundraising, but you use the word fatigue. But there is a significant movement, and it's not new during today's times. Donor fatigue is a real thing, and it's been around for a long time. And it can be overwhelming given everything else going on in the world. And then a lot of organizations come to you and talk about how much they need the funding and all this great work they could do if they could just get your dollars. And Rotary is in a fortunate position because we have a global audience who's already, their heart is already in our organization. And they know, it's pretty clear, the important work and the results that Rotary gets. I think one of the great things we have going for us is that we're our own best advocates. And at the same time, that can work against us, where if we're at a club where somebody is continually asking for the foundation, on behalf of the foundation, for whatever cause, polio, the annual fund, an area of focus. I spoke at a club a couple of weeks ago whose the whole club exists to promote world peace and peace building. Regardless of what the cause is, it's really easy to just numb out and not hear that anymore. And I think it's important for us to remind each other how important it is for us to continue this work. We had that kitschy phrase that we were throwing around for a long time with polio, we're this close, and we still hear it all the time, right? But that's the reality, is that we are so close to eliminating polio globally. And I think, as much as that messaging is thrown around and as much as we hear it, it's really important to understand the implications of what that means for us. There's a lot of people who really truly believe that once Rotary once polio is globally eradicated, that Rotary International will be in line for a Nobel Peace Prize. And that's a great way to market ourselves, right? We can't get there unless polio is eradicated. And whether we end up with a polio or with a peace prize because of it, the reality is as an organization, we can say this is the result that we've gotten as a group of people who've come together to give and to take action. So it's things like that. If we can just remember and keep in the front and center what it is that we're actually trying to do here, it allows us to continue to remember the priorities that we have here and to continue to give. Does that help? Probably.
Yeah. Thanks, Geoff. Okay, Maurice, I guess we're done at 1 o'clock, unless anybody else has anything to say. Mark, did you want to say one more thing?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm very much in the same position as Charlene, where, on Maui, we have nonprofits knocking at the door all the time. But remember, one of the decisions that was made when the new grant model was introduced, and this is back in 2008, was to increase the amount of funds going to district grants from 20% to 50%. So 50% of the money that you guys put in over the last 3 years will come back so that you can do local projects that directly impact your community. So that was a decision made at the highest levels of Rotary based on, surveys and interviews with Rotarians wanting to know, where are your interests? What do you want to do? But remember that, half of the district designated funds that come back to us are going directly to grassroots local projects. We did 82 of them in our district last year. So, this money is not all going to polio and big international projects. A lot of it is staying in Hawaii and doing great work here.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Okay,
That's the
Maurice, I
hope.
think we're after 1 now. So you want to
Yep.
close it up, Maurice? It's up to you.
I just got to say, I wonder how many other people are in the position I'm in, where all my money has been going to politics and supporting candidates. Now we're past the election, I can now focus my extra money towards things like Rotary. So
Cool.
hopefully there'll be more people like me that are in that boat. And
Maurice, I hope you're a happy camper today.
we'll see what the new year brings.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, but with that, thank you so much, Geoff and Mark and Naomi, for joining and speaking today and giving us such great information. Benson, I would like to work with you. Just make sure, I'll go and download the forms, but I'd like to put together like a real quick email that we can send to people to the club, so that they just a brief informational.
Okay, great. That'd be awesome.
And promote that. But thank you very much. With that, lead us through the 4-way test. The things we think, do, or say. First,
Is it the truth?
truth. Second,
Is it fair to all?
Fair to all concerned.
third,
Does it build?
goodwill and better
Better
friendship.
friendship.
Fourth, will it be
Beneficial.
beneficial.
to all concerned.
All concerned.
And fifth.
Have
Have
fun.
fun.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone.